And we want to welcome San Francisco District Attorney Chesa Boudin to us live here in the studio. Chesa, nice to see you.
Thank you.
We just had Brooke Jenkins on. She is leading the effort to have you recalled. You are facing a lot of criticism for what many believe is your sort of soft approach on cracking down on crime in San Francisco. How do you respond to Brooke and to those concerns?
Well, let me be clear. My top priority is public safety. There is nothing more important to me. And that's what my office does all day, every day, is we fight for public safety. You all just heard a lot of lies, a lot of dishonesty, and a lot of spin. And that shouldn't be a surprise, because this is a recall. Recalls aren't about debates between candidates with different visions for a particular office. They're about who can spend enough money to qualify something for the ballot. And in this case, a Republican, William Oberndorf, is the person who spent more than $650,000 to qualify this recall for the ballot. And San Francisco voters deserve to hear what his agenda is. He's given Mitch McConnell more than $3 million. And so I want to be clear. I am challenging William Oberndorf to a debate. Voters deserve to hear what his vision for public safety is. Does he support the death penalty? Does he support putting kids in cages? Does he support ending sanctuary city for our immigrant communities? I think we need to step forward, have a debate between me and the person who has funded this recall, whose name appears on every mailer, on their website, and who paid for the signature gatherers to qualify this recall for the ballot.
Brooke, moments ago, just essentially said that lives have been lost in San Francisco as a result of your approach to criminal justice reform, allowing people to be released on parole, and then those people going on to commit crimes and hurting people in the community. How do you respond specifically to that criticism?
Well, it's offensive and it's hurtful, because there's nothing more important to me than making San Francisco safe. I've got a wife, I've got a son. I want San Francisco to be as safe a community for all of us as possible. And every single policy that I've implemented has been with the purpose of making the city safer, of building trust between our communities and law enforcement. Now, inevitably, in the criminal justice system, no matter what policies you implement, there are going to be people who reoffend. Look at Sacramento, where we've got one of the toughest on crime prosecutors in the state, and they just had a horrific mass shooting. In fact, their crime rates in every category are going up by numbers that are shocking and terrifying. San Francisco remains a safe city, and when we have tragedies, it's despicable that folks like these Republican donors are exploiting those tragedies to promote fear and undermine confidence in our government.
But Chesa, right now, poll after poll shows that people in San Francisco don't feel safe. We just had numbers showing that many are concerned about what's happening, especially in the AAPI communities. They feel as though you have put the criminals and those who are accused of crimes ahead of them, ahead of victims. How do you react to that criticism, that you are more concerned about reforming the criminal justice system than you are about protecting victims of crimes?
The reasons why we implement criminal justice reforms are to make our community safer, to prevent future crimes.
But how does it do that?
Yeah, let me give you a couple concrete examples. We know that there's a tremendously high recidivism rate, or rate of rearrest, when people are released from prison. We saw that in the Sacramento mass shooting a couple weeks ago. What we're trying to do, and this is what I promised voters I would do, is implement policies that are evidence-based, that are grounded in decades of data and research, that reduce the likelihood of people committing future crimes. We don't have a magic solution that is going to solve all of these problems, but we're implementing policies that significantly reduce the likelihood of someone committing a crime in the future. And this is critical. We're also being proactive. We're not simply waiting for a crime to be committed and then responding. We filed a groundbreaking lawsuit against ghost gun manufacturers, companies that are making guns designed to be untraceable and to be used in crimes. That's how we get guns off the street. That's how we keep our communities safe.
I know under your watch, the office has dramatically increased the number of successful diversions. This is obviously an alternative to criminal conviction, something that you obviously campaigned on. How often are people going through those diversion programs through the DA's office and then reoffending? Is that a number that you keep track of?
It is, though. I've only been in office for about 2 years, and many of these diversion programs take that long. So one of the ironies about this recall, which started the week I was sworn in, is they didn't give these policies a chance. We know from data around the country that people who successfully complete diversion are more likely to avoid future arrest than people who go through the traditional process. But here's the other thing people forget. If someone's in a diversion program and they screw up, those criminal charges are still pending. We don't lose the ability to prosecute someone using the traditional tools, but we gain the opportunity to rehabilitate, to turn every arrest into an opportunity for transforming lives away from crime. That's the goal.
I want to go now to some of the people that we spoke to who are concerned about this idea of repeat offenders. I know that San Francisco police have often vented their frustration about we're arresting the same people time and time again. And that, Chesa, is something that we heard from viewers there in San Francisco as well. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
If you don't arrest these drug dealers, if you let them get away with it, then nothing is going to change.
It's frustrating and both insulting because you're not protecting us. You're protecting Louis Vuitton, a couple of blocks down, half a mile down, but you're not protecting these small businesses. They're struggling harder, I would say.
Okay, so there you heard from a woman who is concerned about what she's seeing on the streets in terms of the open air drug use, the fentanyl deaths. Then you also heard from a gentleman in Chinatown who is concerned that more focus is being put on Louis Vuitton high-end stores when they are targeted as opposed to small mom and pop places. And in both of those cases, both of those people we spoke to, Chesa, said it's the same people, the same drug dealers arrested, the same people who are carrying out these big looting events. And they blame you for that.
Well, let's be clear about what the DA does and what the police do. We only can prosecute a case after the police make an arrest. In San Francisco, about 90% of reported crimes never result in an arrest. There's no one brought to my office to prosecute, whether they're a repeat offender or not. And the other thing that's important to recognize is it's not my decision whether someone gets released from jail. It's up to the judges.
But you can advocate.
We do.
You can advocate to keep them, or you can agree with the judge.
And there are hundreds of cases where we have gone in and argued to the judge that someone is a danger to society, is a public safety risk, and that we want them detained in custody pending trial, and the judge disagrees. That is the judge's role. It's their responsibility. And what's critical is to recognize the work we're doing. I don't direct police to stand in Union Square. Small businesses got hit devastatingly hard by the pandemic. And then serial litigators came in and filed frivolous Americans with Disabilities Act lawsuits to extort money from our small businesses all over Chinatown. We listened to the pain, to the cost that this was having on our small businesses. And just Monday of this week, we filed a groundbreaking civil action against a law firm that was extorting millions of dollars from small businesses in San Francisco and beyond. We are standing with and for our small businesses. Just like in the beginning of the pandemic, we modeled a pilot program in District 5 to reimburse small businesses for out-of-pocket expenses if they got vandalized or broken into, even in the 90% of cases where police never bring us an arrest to prosecute.
Let me ask you about one of the things you promised coming into office, which was to prosecute use of force cases against police officers in San Francisco. We obviously had the first case of its kind when Officer Terrence Stengel was prosecuted for assault and battery. In that case, obviously, though, the officer was acquitted here. Can you give me a sense? Do you think that it was a mistake to bring those charges? And when you look back at it, is there a message you take away from the jury's verdict?
One of the things that's important to remember about that case is it's the first ever in San Francisco history. I don't think any of us here believe that never in San Francisco history did a police officer ever use criminal excessive force, right? So why did it take until my administration for a case like that to go to trial? There are tremendous institutional, political, and legal obstacles to equal enforcement of the law, to police accountability. We've seen it across the country with the murder of George Floyd. We've seen it with Breonna Taylor. The jury in this case deliberated for 4 days. They did a tremendously difficult job evaluating evidence. This wasn't a quick or an easy decision. This was exactly the kind of case that must be put to the jury so that our community can make a decision about whether or not use of force was lawful or criminal.
Do you think the jury made the right decision?
No, I disagree with the outcome. I respect their work. I respect the effort that they put into it. I wouldn't have brought the case if I didn't believe a crime was committed and my lawyers could prove it. But we don't win all of our cases. That's true with any kind of case, no matter who the defendant is. We know that San Francisco juries hold us to a very high standard, and we appreciate that.
And Chesa Boudin, we really appreciate you taking the time to come in today. It will be a difficult decision for San Francisco voters that they'll be tackling come June. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chesa.